I vividly remember the 9/11 terrorist attacks in New York City. Don't get me wrong, I was nowhere near them, I was thousands of miles away, but the attack shaped the next few months of my life. I'd arrived home from school and my first ever computer was waiting in the hallway for me and I was very excited. I read the outside of the box for a while and then I turned around to face the TV. A building I'd never seen before was collapsing in on itself. I asked my parents what movie they were watching. They told me it was actually happening, and to me it seemed unreal. So I headed upstairs, set up my new computer and connected it to the internet. I loaded up Yahoo Search, remember that? And was greeted with a message about the attacks. Their systems were overloaded, search wasn't available, Google was the same. Over the next few weeks, I read up on the 9/11 attacks. I knew nothing about the World Trade Center or its purpose, but the feeling that the attacks reminded me of a movie just wouldn't leave me. It must have been fake. It was so unbelievable to me and it felt like Hollywood. I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wasn't there, so I was free to doubt it. A while later, a documentary appeared that piqued my interest. I'm sure it was Alex Jones's 9/11 The Road to Tyranny. This was all new to me. The idea that you could challenge the official story of a historic event suited my, I guess at the time, rudderless teenage rebellion. What made it even easier was the fact that Alex was doing my thinking for me. I didn't need to read up on what might have made Al-Qaeda attack the US because Alex said the US government had carried out the attack. It made sense. The US government is incredibly powerful. They could do anything they wanted to. So I told myself that this was what critical thinking looked like. Instead of gentle, lateral thinking, extreme ideas that no one seemed able to disprove brought me a sense of smug satisfaction. Someone once told me that there was a volcano beneath the Twin Towers. This was what caused the fire within the wreckage to burn for so long. The fire couldn't possibly have been caused by the jet fuel igniting the building's contents, and nor could it possibly have been caused by two of the world's largest buildings collapsing into the subway station and underground mall beneath them. No, there must have been a volcano there. I was only 16. I'd never been to New York. How would I know what was real? So I took my newfound scepticism and applied it to the moon landing. I thought to myself, no way have we been to the moon. It was unreal, and again, it felt like Hollywood. I watched all the conspiracy documentaries and I was convinced. And I was convinced because I wasn't thinking for myself. The documentary was. Conspiracy is an industry built on our desire to appear learned. And it gives you the supposed facts and the stats, but you don't have to do any of the work. The irony of discussing world events with conspiracy theorists is that they'll tell you to do your research. They're the studious ones, you're an idiot and a conformist. As soon as one of their theories is convincingly debunked, a new theory will always emerge. COVID wasn't real. Then it became so apparent that it was that they pivoted to the idea that it was all a plan to tag us via vaccinations. We were to be tracked. Despite at least 70% of the population carrying a mobile phone with them everywhere, a mobile phone that can tell any government where you are at any point via GPS. Failing that, they'll see you on CCTV. A couple of summers ago, I came across some COVID conspiracy theorists in the street. They were handing out flyers that claimed COVID wasn't real, and I began speaking to them about their ideas. One of them told me that they had Gulf War syndrome. Now, Gulf War syndrome is attributed to the use of sarin gas. Sarin gas was a poison. So of course in his head that meant that the vaccine was poison. Now that's an important point. I discovered through discussion the source of their suspicion. Now some might say it's justified due to his experience. Not me, but some might. Just as we'd finished speaking, he handed one of his flyers to a passerby. It transpired that he'd handed a flyer that said COVID wasn't real to a woman who'd lost an elderly relative to the virus. Now imagine what that conversation must have been like. Misguided theory had met reality, and I can only hope their discussion led to him reconsidering his position. It's typical to see conspiracy theories adapt to new information. However, some people identify so strongly with the feeling of smug superiority and false intellectualism conspiracy theories give them that they'll stick to their guns in the face of rock-solid evidence. Now let's look at one of these. The moon landing was the result of the space race, a race that funneled immense amounts of funding into NASA. The grainy images from the moon are ghostly. They feel unreal in the same way 9/11 initially felt to me. For the moon landing to have been faked, every single person involved would need to be in on it. That's thousands of people, and we've never had a leak. Some claim the footage from the moon was shot in a desert. If so, then even the film crew have kept the secret well. The whole thing was orchestrated to amplify American exceptionalism. The multiple light sources theory has been debunked, the flag not waving has been debunked, but conspiracy theorists still maintain it was faked. However, multiple nations that have no interest in amplifying American exceptionalism have since photographed the moon, and guess what they saw? Japan, India, China and Russia have all sent back photos showing the site of the moon landing. Now, if this is fake, can you tell me why governments that historically hate the West are shown as an image of an enormous American achievement? Is it one of those global conspiracies run by George Soros? Am I missing something? Is it intelligent to look at footage of the Twin Towers collapsing and comment on how the pancaking floors forcing debris out of the building's windows look like explosions, and then simply believe that what you were seeing were explosions? Explosions caused by bombs that people must have secretly been planting in the building for months. Wouldn't the intelligent and studious response be to read about the building's architecture and its hinged floor system? Hinges that gave way given the weight pressing down on them. It's not exciting, but it's true. Those COVID vaccines were rolled out a few years ago now. Have you spoken to anyone that's been tracked down via the biochip injected into their arm? If not, why not? Can you tell me why a market-driven economy that is built on the exploitation of people's labour would want to lock everyone up at home? Where's the conspiracy? How can locking up the source of economic income benefit big business and government? Now, of course, you'll tell me that I just don't get it, that it's a global conspiracy. They all know each other, they're all working together. But again, if you've worked that out, can you answer the really basic questions I've just outlined? If not, why not? Ask yourself that. Life can be boring sometimes, and the idea of learning about how multiple systems interact can be tedious. Cue the conspiracy theory. It unburdens you of the need to learn, to read. You feel edgy, like you know something no one else does. You're the smartest guy in the room. Unfortunately, that room is filled with people like Alex Jones and Neil Oliver, so there's not much to boast about. The real conspiracy is that you're being taken advantage of by people like Neil and Alex. Dim, Z-list celebrities with no shame. Try challenging what they say, see how it feels. Ditch the theories and the denial of science. You'll sleep much better.